Hey everyone, we're back with another Road to 2K episode, again featuring the great JG Salem sporting his butterfly outfit once again, and let's see if we can string together some dubs and keep the train going to 2K. Can I get there? It's kind of a long road, you know, there's not a lot of players. There's not a lot of time, opportunities to play, and a lot of my opponents are a bit underrated as well, so that means that I have to get better myself in order to pretty much win at a high rate to be able to climb up to 2K. So we'll see if I can continue this trend here. We're off to a pretty even start so far. Unfortunately, he's able to clear out that tree, and that's not ideal for me because now he can go through the portal, but he will get ticked by the aura, so you know, he does deflight me here, but at least he's gonna take some tick damage, and okay, I'm able to get the ray off, so that tree does do something for me. It wasn't the worst. Now I would say we're about even. It's looking pretty drawish at this point, but my plan is going to be to create more space and then get a prot set up and portal up. That's going to be his plan too, so pretty similar, pretty symmetrical, as they might say in chess. Now, prodding in the tower is okay in this situation because, you know, he's not taking any extra damage. But normally, if you are in a situation where your opponent can get to you, you don't prot in a tower because your opponent can just pebble it off. Now, he goes for the tree there. I think he is worried about, yeah, a new portal or perhaps like a ray angle, but I wouldn't be able to hit that ray. If I'm JG, I don't know, it does kind of suck to get this aura tick damage, and so I might have not gone through the portal so early. Maybe flash out some more space to the left of where he's at right now and get a spirit up to put in my portal. But instead he's a little bit down at this point. Not significantly, but I'm just going to be trying to control his movement, zone him out of the bottom area here. And the cool thing about this is I can now have control of my portal and I can just stay up top and just spam pebble. And he's a little bit stuck down there. If I'm thinking about like a 3-turn plan, I probably want to pebble down a couple more times and then push him with like a clock. Or maybe you'd be able to get a mud ball off. Unfortunately, I stay out of the portal, which, I don't know, maybe was that intentional or not? I don't think so. Oh, that definitely wasn't intentional. Yeah. What rule book do they have that in? The answer is none. The rule book of coeval blunders. Oh, well, yeah, you might as well blunder back to back. If you're going to blunder, you know, like, make it an upload-worthy blunder. And that's what I did there. He's throwing the games for content. No. Alright, so JG now back in the lead, clearly. And control of his portal, not ideal. I'm going to try to get out of mech arrow range. Ooh, I almost ticked myself there. And at least, okay, I can tree him off, and that flash was kind of a cue. It happens, just because the tree is alive, and so it's best probably to drain there if he's going to use any move, but even drain is probably not great. I would have gated a turn earlier out of the tree. He eventually gates. I'm in ray range. That was just a blunder. And you can see he's up 90 prot. Not great. Again, the game of these 7Gs is to make sure that you're up protection shields, right? And here I really fell behind. And of course it was due to those back-to-back blunders, the missed ray, the sync. You lose your 100 prot, and that's just like you've lost 2-3 tempos. So it's really brutal. Yeah, this is a nuanced move right there, that tree that's more advanced that I haven't really touched on in many of my videos. But what you can do at the top in the wide open space is tree yourself and put a tree on top of yourself, to be more precise. And that will protect from Skyray, from Deluge, in some cases from arrows, Frost Arrow, Fire Arrow, unless your opponent's Oa. And what that does is, ooh, nice bounce, and it just was terrible. Like, the picture that I had in my mind of that Mega Throw was like infinitely better than the execution. You know, that's how it happens most of the time. But anyway, yeah, if you do frequent 7 Grassy, you may find benefit to using that sort of tree strategy where you're up in the open and you don't want your prots to be whittled down. Just tree yourself and you'll be unrayable. At this point, fairly even, right? I'm going to set up a tree to block Ray. Not probably the best, but maybe it's okay. Can I get over? Yeah, okay, it does block Ray. All right, so this is fine. He could Ray the branch to the right and do some damage, or just the top. Yeah, it'll do a little bit, but you know, it's not the end of the world for me. I think I'm okay here. And I'm going to stay in the portal for some reason. I think that's a blunder. That's an accident. But that happens. He doesn't have anything to punish me there, so it's fine. And we're fairly even. We're just going to trade auras and try to set up a portal. In these situations, you try and not rush, but what ends up happening is often players who are about like average, maybe been playing for a while, but not really grinding the game as much, will get caught into just kind of doing the same sort of rotations, the same 4 spell rotations over and over and over, right? And that doesn't really lead to any wins, it just leads to draws. So sometimes I fall victim to that and just both not wanting to be pressing too much because I want to protect my rating, and also just not playing as clean, not having that knowledge and kind of not knowing the lines well enough to push. So here, once again, one thing that I could do is reportal above that tree, but in fact, not necessary because I can just go through my portal to the left there. And now I've got control of my portal, which is great. I think I've gained some tempo there. You really need to be aware of how far away your opponent is from their portal, and if they can go into it within 7 seconds to gain some tempo on you. Here I go for a Storm Spirit Windshield, but he's just going to be able to aura that and deflight me. But then I can set up another prot. So looking okay here. He doesn't have prots up. Okay, he's going to get one up. And again, pretty even. But we're slowly getting down to the wire here. You know, this is not clear cut. It's definitely not over. So he pushed, but I do have the spirit still. But it goes through the portal, and I'm like, oh shit, oh god, what do I do? So I panic and I miss. That's a pretty decent pebble, does about 30, and I mud back, feeling pretty good. It's fairly even. Maybe I can get a ray angle here, deflight him, and I also get to go through and, oh, never mind. Wow, my brain was too slow to even see that. I go through double portals. That's another thing that's a bit more tricky to spot. Maybe something you don't think of in the moment. You really have to think of that a couple turns in advance. Okay, if he leaves that opportunity for me to go through a double portal and then engage him, I'll take advantage. And I was able to do it and get the victory. That was a nice game. All right, here we are. If you're still with me, please drop a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video so far. Always appreciate the support. Here, this is an interesting line. He's going to choose to close the gap here with the spirit. That's not one that we've seen yet. I think it's a good one. And what it does is basically he's biding his time until he gets like a mega or a clock. And if he gets that mega or clock before I do, then he's going to be able to get quite a good advantage. And here he's in a situation where, yeah, I might just have to respond with mud here. And I jumped twice. Where am I going? Oh, what was that? God, that was terrible. Just mud back. Man, God, that makes me want to like throw my computer. Damn, that was terrible. This is what can happen if you're a little bit too overzealous. That was a classic example. He goes for the portal grab, pretty much clinically pushing me here. And oh, do I go back through the portal? Is this just like a minute-long victory here from him? 80. 80, can I come back? Can I come back and give me the masterclass in stalling? Come on. Come on, Ko. Let's do this. Okay, at least he couldn't jump back through. So I've saved myself a turn. Can I extend anything? No, not worth it. I'm down like 1,000 health. Yeah, he's going to chip me with aura. It's looking tough. Yeah, I got to drain. I got to eat the 15 and just heal up a little bit. At some point I can maybe telly right. Okay, he Qs. Unfortunate for him. But he's going to be able to get a mech off, isn't he? Yeah. So that's not ideal for me. I got to teleport to the right. Let's see what ends up happening. Am I able to extend this game at all? For my honor, my dignity. Okay, that'll help. That'll help. It's not going to help much, but it is going to help. And I'm going to get this mech off. He doesn't quite go all the way down there, but okay, he does. He ends up dropping down. It's looking rough. Is it possible? Yeah, anything's possible with generic to come back. But probably got a couple more turns on Mech Arrow. I'm going to want to set up a portal now, pretty much. Okay, no, I decided to go for a tree. I mean, I think that's okay. Might have been better just to flash. And he's going to flash himself, and now I'm trapped. Okay, that's why the tree was bad, is because I wasn't in the aura, so the aura's active. So I just treed myself, basically. So yeah, the positioning on that was not great. I think flashing would have been better, maybe a spirit, something like that. So he's up 1,000 health, and he tried to go through the portal, couldn't quite get through, so I went for the drain. And able to, you know, maybe try and fight for my life here. Going to put a new portal up, and again, just trying to basically play cat and mouse with them. It's good that he aura'd there. I can go through my portal. Although, okay, yeah, I can't because I was actually using my portal to deflect him from his own portal. When those portals are overlapping, it can get very tricky to know really what happens. If that happens again in one of our games, I'll make sure to explain that in more detail. But yeah, it can get kind of confusing how that all works. I get confused by portals sometimes. It's hard to know whose is whose. They used to not be color-coded until just a couple months ago. So the color coding, I think, helps. It's a nice decreasing the barrier for entry for low times games. Makes things a little bit easier to track. So actually, I'm kind of happy to see that tree there get some health. And unfortunately, though, I don't know if it's going to help me that much because he's got so much prod. He's at 70. I mean, what do I go like? I've got to go for a mud. The mega would have to be like picture perfect, and even then he would probably drop onto me, and then he would just, you know, sui for the win or something. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to spam mud. Okay, at least he's down a couple prots, but or one prot now. I'm still hurting. I'm very much hurting here. And he's free? Is he free? Oh no, he's not. Phew, alright. Hanging on by a thread. That tree's nice. Okay, it's gonna help me stay in this game. That flash does nothing, unfortunately for him, because the tree's alive. Flashing up probably would have been better, even though he gets raid. But okay, he does free himself for the mech arrow, so that was a line I didn't see, I think, while I was playing, or even now in this commentary. So that was a nice one. And now he's pushing with that flash to go through his portal. Does he have flight back up? Yeah, he does, and he's probably got prop back up too. Yeah, like I said, you know that you're losing when once you ray, they prop right back up. It's like, God damn it. This is going to be a battle. But, it's not all lost here. He's at 180. It's not like he's at 250 with 150 prots. I'm not completely lost. That's a nice portal. I am able to tree it off, though. One way that you can portal, which is nice, that prevents your opponent from treeing it off, is you portal next to a live tree. So that's something that you'll see the sweats, the archmages do. Oh, he sunk himself! I'm back in the game! Let's go! 115 he's back to, and then he had to teleport back in, so he queued in the water because for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason you lose a lot of seconds when you sink. Like say you're at 3 seconds and you sink, you lose that time. At least I do. I lose 3 seconds. Some people lose 2. Some people are able to instantly teleport back in. I'm not sure exactly what determines that, but yeah, sometimes I see people teleport in and I'm like, how did they do that instantly? Like I lose that time. And so that's what happened with JG. He had like 2 seconds on his clock and he sunk himself, and he was not able to even have an opportunity to click back in. Unfortunately, I'm still down a couple tempo, and it's really looking tough for me. Does he have a ray angle there? Oh, man, I got a bit lucky. Nice, good positioning, and I'm able to stay alive for just a little bit longer. Okay, he's in ray range. No, he's not. Dang it. Wait, is he? Maybe I can hit that little piece of mud there. No, I choose to flash. That's a fine play. Maybe trying to go for that sky ray on that mud ball would have been good. And he goes for the mega and he misses. He misses. Nice. I choose to go for the tree, and he's going to push up top. Ray is coming soon, so he's got to be wary of that. Okay, he's going to prop back up. That's logical. And here I think Ray is a good move. Just keep him down to lethal health, which means that I can kill him in one shot. Ooh, down to 21. It's looking dicey. I don't know if there was a way to prevent that mech based on my positioning. I don't think so. But yeah, he's going to be able to pebble down, straight down from up top. And it's going to make things tough for me. We'll see if I can squeak out something here. He's just going to be pebbling straight down over and over and over, right? And I'm going to have to run. What can you do? Go through his portal again. Yep. And oh man, I think I queued there. Come on, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh man, he didn't queue. That's unfortunate for me. So now I got to go through and go for a mega. I almost did it. Almost. Bit of a heartbreaker. He got me. All right, we're back, and let's see what he chose to run this time. Generic, it looks like. We'll be around for a couple more games. If you're still around, you're a very loyal fan. I appreciate you. Let me know what your favorite setting is to play on Arc if you're still watching. Drop a comment. Here we're going to get the basic bitch opening. 7 Grassy, go to the side, flight prot, aura, create more space. This is where it gets kind of dicey. I hit myself in the aura, and you might think, oh, that's no big deal. It's just 15 damage. What do you mean? Well, when you're playing people that know what they're doing, 15 damage can make or break you. So he's able to get this portal up, but in this case, I don't need to land around the tree to block the portal because I can use him as the holder of the tree. He holds the tree up. And actually he drained himself and the tree dropped and he was trapped. But more importantly, I was able to sink him. And it kind of resets some of his cooldowns and allows me to gain a tempo. I go for a portal grab and I fail. Unfortunate. That one is going to be difficult to swallow. Or is it? Boom. Flashed off. That was like a counter blunder. I don't know if y'all experience like, anxiety in your games. Sometimes I get nervous and like when someone makes a good play or when someone blunders, I think more often. When someone blunders, I get nervous and I often counter blunder. So I think that was a situation that JG was in. Like, oh shit, Coevo blundered. Come on, capitalize. And then he blunders back. So that's one thing I've been kind of working on, honing as far as my skill goes, is being able to manage my nerves and then control the urge to to counter blunder with some just wild play. So that's an important subtle detail in sevens as well, is to not let yourself get sunk by a mech arrow. No, just kidding. But an important detail is to know what portal your opponent is in. So by that I mean if you know that your opponent is in your portal, then you always have the option of spawning a new portal, and then your old one will disappear and they will no longer be able to use your portal to their advantage. So that's what I did a few turns ago. And unfortunately, yeah, he got that mech sink off, which was nasty. But I'm up some health. I can afford to sit in this aura and whittle away at his prots. Maybe just flight up without a prot and clock him here. No. Alright. Fair enough. I'm playing pretty conservative. Mech angle, maybe? Ray angle? Oh, nice. Didn't see that immediately, but another tip, you can mech through portals, right? And you can get some nice extend angles. You can also clock through portals, as you saw there. And I now realize that, okay, maybe that wasn't the best move. I needed to position myself a bit better. I could have meched through the portal from further away so that I'm not sinkable, of course. And, oh, nice. Going through the portal again. So, yeah, I think the takeaway from this game is understand your ability to move and maneuver across the map through portals, and also know when your flight is back up. And also, don't get stuck in holes on the map and miss point blank pebbles and allow a counter mega. That's very important. I'm dead here. I gotta run. I gotta all of a sudden go on the defensive because I just fell into that hole by mistake. Oh man, and this is where it gets tense. Like I said, it seems like, at least against JG and some others, like Slim Bill I have good games against, but yeah, especially against JG, we always seem to somehow make generic games interesting at the end. I'm really going for the win here. 5 health! 5! 5, what can he hit me with? 89 damage? Can he do that? No, he can't. Wow, what a game. Flash him off the map. Just kidding, I don't. My aim's too good. That was nice. Alright, let's see what games we got left. Okay, we're back. And looks like we're both running generic once again. We're going to go to the side of the map. And he's going to flash down, make some space. Probably better to gate. Or gating may not even be necessary if he could jump out of that tree. But, I mean, I don't hate it. The thing is, though, what he did here that was just a subtle kind of mistake is that, say I aura him, right? Then he has to go up top, and then he's vulnerable to a ray in a few turns. If I aura him and he wants to flash down, he has to deflight, because if he doesn't deflight, then he's going to lose 30 damage to aura, 15 from when it hits and 15 the following turn. So Here I don't have to deflight, I can move out of this area and just make more space. But in his case, if I aura, he has to either expose himself to the top of the map or deflight and loses flight privileges. So we'll see what he does here as I explain that scenario, and it ended up playing out, and he does end up deflighting. Now he's a bit constrained, right? He doesn't have a lot of space. And so he chooses to portal grab me, which I think is a fine play, potentially. Although, no, it does allow me to go back through and hit him with a mega. So he was probably better off treeing me. I think his tree was up, right? He didn't use it. Yeah. Or mudballing, something a bit more defensive, right? So here we're kind of playing, like I mentioned, cat and mouse in the portals. And let's see what might be a good continuation. Okay, I'm just ticking him with the aura, and he's trying to go back all the way through. Can he fit? Can he get there? Oh no! No, he went too hard with that move. Overzealous in sevens. That's gonna hurt. You know, sevens is not tens. That's what I'll say. Like, often I goad myself into thinking, yeah, this will be fine. I can hit this mega, or I can go across the map. And then you're at the last second, you've charged up the spell, and then it, you know, timer hits, and you're screwed. Those hurt. They always hurt. And for posterity, JG, mudballs, and I'm able to close out that game. We've got about 2 games left, so stay tuned. I think I'll just finish them up in one video. Got so many games to cover in my Road to 2K series. It's ridiculous, but they're all quite interesting. It's fun to have the opportunity to commentate these and share them with you all. Here I quite like this move because, again, we see a repeat of last game where he flashes down. Yes, he avoids the aura, but look, he's trapped. And now I'm free to do my own setup. And if he auras, I can easily run out of it. One thing you got to be careful of that hasn't came up much in these games, but it may in future ones, is if I go down lower here and try and flash for space, Ray can actually hit. And I'm at 35, so it'll deflight me and it'll actually sink me because I flashed. So this land is gone below me here. So I gotta be careful of that line where, and it's a line, it can repeat. Spork often gets me with this line where I end up aura'd, and he positions it so well that I'm baited to go down to the bottom and then flash out, and then he rays me and sinks me, and it's just, I'm lost. So I got to be very careful of that. And so as a result, I do slightly adjust my movement to the right a little bit so that when he rays me, if he chooses to do that, it's not as much damage, and I'm able to at least not be sunk. Hopefully, if my calculation is right. Okay, he doesn't even go for the ray, but I made the slight adjustment to hopefully discourage him from going for the ray, and it did. I go for the portal grab there. That's a terrible move because he's able to respond with a potential sink, and unfortunately, that was just another counter blunder situation. So that's called luck, ladies and gentlemen. I got lucky. And he's going to be able to prop back up. Actually, somehow, despite that blunder, we're about even. I guess we both blundered. So I'd say I'm up a little bit, though, because I've got the portal as a means to run away out of that aura. And also, now he's used his tree. So, as I've been saying over the last few videos, you can portal next to a live tree, or even if it's not next to a live tree, if your opponent trees and you have portal back up, having portal out when your opponent doesn't have tree can really swing the game. Because one of the biggest counters to portal is tree. You know, you portal, your opponent trees. If they don't have it, it's very tricky. You've only got aura left as a hard counter. I guess, yeah, spirit too, but those are a little bit less surefire ways to just deal with portal. Like, tree is a way you can deal with portal with your eyes closed. It's like super easy. Anyone can do it. Now with aura and spirit, it's a little bit more nuanced sometimes. But yeah, whenever he's treeing here, I'm thinking, okay, potentially that's maybe wasted because I can set up a portal well, and he can't tree it off. But it's only wasted if I choose to take advantage of it. So you have to know when to capitalize, and that's another thing I'm trying to learn as I'm grinding my way to 2K, is when your opponent makes a mistake, you really need to be able to capitalize on their mistake. Otherwise, the mistake is nullified, right? So here I'm able to go for a ray sync. Nicely played there. And if I could only get to his portal, I could lob a mega in there. And so I'm thinking about ways that I can do that. And one way is to portal close to his portal. I could have gone through and flashed him off the map, which is interesting. How that would work is I would go through the red portal, okay, go through the green portal, and then once I go through the green portal, I would flash him off. And you're thinking, well, what do you mean? You're in the portal and he's not going to sink. But I go back through on his turn, so he would sink. If I clear all this land, then when my turn's over, I go back through the portal. That would be sweet, and I think I'm about to do it. See, look there, okay, you're thinking, well, he's just going to stay there, and JG's not going to sink. Nope. My turn ends, and I go back through, he sinks, kind of a cool line. Doesn't happen too often. And so I'm going to choose to aura him, and he trees off. He's scared of the mech. Prot was probably better there if he had it, but he might not. I'm not sweaty enough to be tracking in this commentary. And he goes for a prot here. Now I can just pretty much spam Pebble for the next 3-4 turns. And maybe at some point I'm thinking I want to go closer, close the gap, and then also protect myself from a Sky Ray. But instead I go for a mech. I don't know, what was I smoking there? That was a terrible mech arrow. Am I able to maybe alt it down at the lowest angle, full power, and maybe get that off? I'd have to aim like right down here maybe. I don't know. It's kind of tricky. But anyway, let's see how this progresses. I'm up a ton. I mean, this is tough. JG's gonna have to play for a draw here. It's just a matter of setting up a portal and not just sitting at the right side of the map letting him queue for 10 turns. Because you got to remember we're on a 60 turn timer, but we're only at turn 30. I got time. Here, I think something like that is a little bit of a blunder, because again, I'm allowing him to get back in the game with the Drain Bolt. Another option would be to just scoot over to the right and portal, excuse me. And then, yeah, he would get a mech arrow off, but I would be able to go into the portal after he does that and hit him with some damage. Instead, I go for the portal a turn later, but he's able to tree it off. And we trade some blows here, and I'm still up, but he's managing. Okay, he doesn't quite get in the portal. He was indecisive there, and that's another thing that I'm trying to work on as well. You need to be confident in your move, even if it's bad. So if it's bad, commit to it. You know, if you're halfway in between a move, then that's going to be the death of you. And this wasn't a bad move, but I committed to it. And, you know, it just sailed right over his head. I don't know what happened there, but somehow, like, did I have some sort of, you know, incident at the keyboard? Like, did my cat jump on it? Or, I don't have a cat, but I don't know. Something must have happened. Oh, I barely get that mech off, though. Oh, and it sinks. Okay. Redemption. Redemption, and I'm back to that huge lead that I had about 5-10 turns ago. It's looking good. Looking good. Alright, nice pebble. 30 damage. Oh, we're at 37 minutes here already. I might have one more game too. This just might be a longer video, so, you know, if you made it through all the way here to minute 37, let me know in the comments if you prefer short content, you know, like 5 to 10 minutes, 10 plus minutes, or 30 plus minutes. These Road to 2K videos, some of the recent ones, have been closer to 30 plus, and I'm curious if you all like the long form content or would prefer it split into smaller chunks. So yeah, let me know. But okay, it's heating up a little bit here. I'm gonna try to push. I say heating up and I'm up like 300. Yeah, it's getting really tense here. We don't know who's gonna win, you know. But it is tough to close sometimes, even when your opponent has 40, 50 health. When they're running generic, it's very slippery. All right, JG's gonna run. Oh, and unfortunately, he goes through the portal, sinks himself, and I'm able to get the dub. This is gonna be a good final game. Let's get into it. All right, we're doing the conservative opening. He's gonna choose to protection shield. Once again, protection shield is safe if your opponent can't respond with a mech arrow that same turn. In this case, I can't. I'm too far away. And he's going to flash out the bottom space, fly down, flash out more space. I'm never 100% sure when to aura exactly. You know, you could choose to aura earlier or flash out space earlier. And it just, I think, depends on, do you have enough room to move out of the aura before you cast your own? If you don't have enough room, then you should probably flash first. If you do have enough room on the side, then you can aura first and be able to manage moving out of it the following turn. Not sure if some of that is making sense, but hopefully you're able to take something away about how to play 7 Grassy from this video. There, that tree at the top is just to block the ray threat, which is so common in these generic books. Second most common aerial is the luge as well, which it will protect from. Getting that mech arrow is a big tempo swinger. Notice I threw it through the portal because there was an aura in there. And, you know, the aura is not going to affect the arrow, but if I go through it, it's going to damage me. So what do? You just line yourself up, charge the arrow. You still click the player, by the way. You don't click the portal. You click the player and you just charge it max power all the way through, and that's how I aimed it at him. You're also seeing how I'm gaining tempo here, which is nice in this match, is flashing and the tree is dropping down, and so the portal is able to be accessed. And so that makes it easy for me to keep my tempo up, keep my aggression. So I'm going to pebble straight down, and yeah, JG here is going to flash some space. I think that's a sensible move. I'm just going to pebble down again. And what I would probably do in his situation is, yeah, I think that's a really fair play. It's nicely done. And I'm going to try to close the gap here. Nicely done by me. So good couple moves by both of us. He chooses to flight and barely gets that off, but unfortunately for him, that's going to hurt because now I'm able to flash and deflight him. He's got no flight for 5 turns now. If I was him in that situation, I would have saved flight, but you know, at 7 seconds, maybe he just got his movement just ever so slightly off, and he had to say, "Oh shit, I have to flight to be able to execute this." You don't have much time to really make these split-second decisions, right? So it's really tough. Alright, so I'm going to reprot. It's always good when you have your prot back up, even if you're winning quite handily, to just use it, because if you have your prot back up and your opponent doesn't, what does that mean? You're going to get a prot advantage over time. You're again thinking about, how am I going to create an advantage over the course of 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 turns? You're not thinking about, oh, I'm going to win in 5 turns. Now, if you're playing OA, then of course you're going to be thinking about, how do I win? Or if you're playing like OA, you're going to of course be thinking about how to win in 5 turns. But this is generic versus generic. It's a very slow burn, chip damage, kind of strategic, methodical gameplay. So any little damage, little tempo swings matter quite a lot. Once again, just take a turn to prod up. That's a 50 damage shield, and that allows me to keep the 40 point prod advantage that I have. If I have prod up and I don't use it, then it's as if I don't have it in my book. You know, I'm giving JG a chance to stay in the game by not using my protection shield. You know, you have spells in your book, you might as well use them. You came here for expert tips. There's my expert tip. Alright, now I'm whittling them down. That was a nice mech arrow. And I think I can exit my portal and pebble down, but I choose to stay in my portal and pebble down, just a little bit of a safer option. He's going to aura, which is a fine play. I'm just going to probably pebble down a different angle. And the goal here is to, how do you push from a portal when you're out in the open? I've got to find a spot in my mind where I can go to that's protected from a ray. So maybe like down here somewhere, and then I can repebble from that area, or maybe flash, create some space. So at some point I'd like to leave the portal, but actually no, okay, I guess I'm just going to lob pebbles and it's going to go fine. But there are instances where it's better to leave the portal, allow the ray, and then as a trade-off you allow the ray, but you're making space to get to your opponent. You're closing that gap, putting pressure. So here at this point I'm thinking I'm up a lot of prot. It's worth it to leave. And he's got no prot. Unfortunately though, I don't detower him there. 5 health. Mega might be worth it here. Okay, yeah, I go for the toss. Not the best, but it does do... Okay, no. That was shitty. 32 damage. You win some, you lose some. Here, though, unfortunately, I'm able to close the gap, get that clock action. Speed! Nice. He's stuck in that little hole. Could be kind of annoying. He's able to escape. Not the best angle to throw anything, so has to go for a tree. That's another tip for 7G. If you're treed and your opponent has significantly lower health than you, get out of there. Gate. Gate anywhere. Gate in the water. No, just kidding. Don't gate in the water, but pretty much gate anywhere. Don't allow yourself to get double drained and get so much recovery. Alright, I'm able to go through my portal and respond to his gate. That's another tricky thing to keep track of too. If you're not keeping track of the portals and you gate, and then your opponent goes through a portal and they're just right next to you, that's tough. You're not going to be able to come back. You can sink yourself and go to the opposite side of the map, which is very clutch in those end-of-game situations, for sure. And JG is able to stay in the game with that technique. Here, I've got a lot of map control, able to just pebble down, do about 35 damage, decent pebble, and looking like I'm going to be able to close this one out. I wonder if a Mega Sui would kill here. I don't think so, but go for the Ray and able to close out that victory. This was a bit of a longer video. I hope you all enjoyed this generic v generic battle versus JG. Many more to come, and have a great day. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.